Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Martyrs Cause studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm going to take you through the weekly pickups that you should be considering. Cards that are just within my budget. It might be within yours, less than $1, but some fantastic cards that might not stay that price for that long. So let's jump into it, starting off with Heraldic Banner, an incredible card. One that, well, it might not be the most efficient of mana rocks. Let's jump into an artifact for 3. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color. It can tap for that mana, and then creatures you control the chosen color get +1/+0. So again, where it lacks efficiency, it makes up in utility. Again, it is a mana rock that costs 3 and taps for 1 of just one color. That is worse than a manolith, right? I mean, manolith can tap for any color, and that's still not a very good mana rock. Typically, when you're looking for a mana rock, you want one that can well help you fix your mana, which is nice, but also one that is very efficient. Typically, you're looking for mana rocks that can tap for 1 and cost 2, generally, or at least tap for half the amount of mana that you put into them. This one does not do that, but again, that utility that it gives you, pumping your team, again, for only creatures of a certain color, but still, if you're in a monocolor deck or even a 2-color deck, this can make a massive impact if you have a go-wide strategy. If you're in something like Goblins with Kranko, yeah, this is a very simple and easy mana rock that can help you ramp, while also just saying, yeah, all my little 1/1 Goblins now hit for twice as much. Again, that Anthem effect on a mana rock is huge. A great pickup. Again, 98 cents currently. Make sure you pick it up if you do have a deck that can use it, obviously. Moving on, Ronus Monument, yet another artifact that I'm going to be highlighting on today's episode. It is a legendary artifact that also costs 3. It says green creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you catch a creature spell, target creature control gets +2/+2 and gains trample till end of turn. Now, this one is 99 cents, just underneath that $1 mark, and apparently the foil version is like $5. Regardless, a very, very impactful card. What does green love? Well, a lot of things, lands, but also, of course, creatures. Green loves creatures. And reducing the cost of those creatures can make a massive impact on your deck. Again, when it comes to ramp, yeah, mana rocks are great. Ramping is great with lands as well. But when it comes to reducing, that can have multiple impacts on a turn. Again, if you're casting, say, 3 creature spells on a turn, this essentially saved you 3 mana. On top of that, it can help you kind of finish opponents as well in a way. Again, casting creature spells, you get to pump creatures. +2/+2 and trample is nothing to, well, nothing to shake your head at, essentially, right? It is something that your opponents are going to have to keep in mind, especially if you've got ways to cast creature after creature after creature, pumping creatures a ton, getting damage through. Yeah, this is a fantastic card. It's also a key piece in my Monuments deck as well that I made a long time ago. If you haven't seen that one, make sure you check it out. Let's move on, though. Moving on, let's start with some creatures with Morbid Opportunist, a 1/3 human rogue for 2 and a black. Whenever you draw whenever one or more other creatures you do control die, draw a card. Let me do that again. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card. Does not say you own. This ability triggers only once each turn, so whenever any creatures are getting taken out, you get to draw cards. It does not specify, well, again, your creatures. It doesn't specify non-token creatures either. Yes, there is a restriction, only once each turn, but still, with each tripper on the table, this has the potential for a 3-mana creature to draw you 4 cards with every single tripper on the table. Now, this one again is 99 cents, is a fantastic deal right now. Typically, you're going to see this played in aristocrat-style strategies or strategies that like to sacrifice creatures, because being able to, say, utilize Avisaris here, which has a free sacrifice effect, and utilize that again and again and again, knowing when you get to actually draw those cards. Again, sacrificing one creature on your turn, sacrifice a creature on an opponent's turn, and then again, you can determine when you're going to be drawing those cards and determine when you get that value from sacrificing those creatures. That being said, also, if you've just got a deck that can utilize maybe some edict effects, maybe some wraths, maybe some ways to just take out creatures, one at a time, instant speed, yeah, that can be a great way to just gain extra value from a card like this. This card is huge. Again, 99 cents, a great card at that. Next up, Drogskull Reaver. This one was not budget for a long time. Finally got a reprint in Double Masters. But yeah, also now is barely within the budget, 99 cents. 3/5 Spirit for 5, white and a blue, flying, double strike, and lifelink. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. First up, if this hits an opponent, or if this hits anything, actually, any kind of creature, you're going to be gaining life twice. Because again, hits once, hits twice with the double strike, you gain life because that life link, drawing 2 cards. That being said, where this really shines is going to be in life gain strategies, especially ones that have multiple instances of life gain and repeatable life gain at that. And there's a lot of decks out there. Life gain is one of the most popular themes in Commander currently. And yeah, this is a stellar card in that kind of a deck, because this can help you draw an absurd amount of cards throughout the game. Again, it doesn't matter how much life you gain. It's not like, hey, if you gain 5 or more life, draw a card. No. Any instance of life gain, if you are gaining a single life, you draw a card. So again, if you got either these Soul Sisters in play, Soul's Attendant, basically those kinds of cards, you're like, hey, okay, I got one of those in play. Whenever any creature enters the battlefield, not just my own, I gain a life. So if any creature comes into play, gain a single life, draw a card. And if you got more instances of that, you're going to be gaining even more life, gaining even more cards. This card is crazy. This card is also a combo piece in certain ways too. A really, really good card. And again, a steal right now at 99 cents. Next up, Martyrs Cause, a crazy good card that I think is a bit underrated still, 97 cents. I don't believe this one's ever actually seen a reprint, and I'm just, I mean, I need to pick some up actually for some of my decks too right now. Enchantment for 2 and a white, sacrifice a creature, prevent all damage to a creature or player from one source. So essentially, you have a free sacrifice outlet in white, and you don't typically find those. There are very few. I mean, there's 2 that come to mind. This is one of them. And then basically, yeah, you utilize this again in aristocrat style strategies, those kind of strategies, to freely sacrifice creatures. I'm thinking like Teysa, essentially, right? Doubling up death triggers. This is a crazy good card. Again, enchantments are probably the hardest permanent type to really deal with. I mean, obviously they can be dealt with, but when it comes to actually, wraths and removal, typically, you've got Vandal Blast, which takes out artifacts. You've got Wrath of God, takes out creatures. But when it comes to enchantments, yeah, I mean, usually it's going to be a more targeted source taking that out. So this can stay on the field for a long time, can help you sacrifice creatures freely, which again gives you a lot of value in aristocrat style strategies. And of course, this is a good benefit as well. Again, preventing all damage to a creature player from one source. This can be used in many ways. First of all, you have someone who's going to decide to swing at you. They're like, hey, yeah, I've got this giant Eldrazi swinging at you. And you're like, okay, let's just sacrifice this tiny little 1/1 spirit token, prevent that damage. Cool, thank you. So you can just essentially say, yeah, let's not have that happen. Obviously, this can help against, spells as well. And of course, you can use this politically as well. If someone's swinging at one of your opponents and you're like, hey, I've got a creature I can sacrifice to prevent that damage to you. What will you give me for that? I'm saving you here, okay? What kind of a deal can we make here? So you can make a lot of really good deals with something like this. Again, it's a very versatile card, and again, one that just does a big impact in aristocrat style strategies. Moving on, another old card that is a huge card in many situations. Let's talk about Reap, a 96-cent card that its price has fluctuated over the years, finally back underneath $1. Pick this one up right now if you've got any opponent that, well, let's talk about the card. Instant for 1 in a green, return any number of target cards from your graveyard to your hand. You cannot choose more cards than the number of black permanents your opponent controls. This is worded in a very different way when it comes to the Oracle text, but basically, hey, you cast this for 2 mana, and it's basically a regrowth X spell. So this essentially is like, okay, if one of your opponents has 5 black permanents, guess what? For 2 mana, instant speed, you get to bring back 5 cards out of your graveyard. It does not restrict you to permanent cards. It doesn't restrict you to any specific kind of card. Again, this is instant speed regrowth for X. And even if there's just 1 black permanent in play, this is still instant speed regrowth. So this is just a crazy good card. Yes, will there be certain situations where you're not playing against anyone that has a black deck? Sure, that might happen, but chances are pretty likely that at least one of your opponents has a black deck, and therefore, yeah, you're going to be getting value out of this. Again, between 1 and maybe even like 10 plus. Again, if you're playing against someone that has a like Endrixar token deck, yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of value out of this, an absurd amount of value. Again, this overperforms so many more times than it's going to underperform for you. A crazy good regrowth type effect, again, at instant speed. Make sure you're picking this one up while it's still budget friendly. Next up, Reverberate, 99 cents, just underneath that $1 mark. Instant for red, very simple spell. Copy target in sorcery spell, you may choose targets for the copy. Basically, again, a copy spell. In red, red has the ability to copy in a way where it's like, okay, if it's already cast, you can copy that. This essentially is a way to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to double up any of my spells, potentially. Again, for just an extra red, maybe you got a giant, red damage spell or something, maybe an extra combat spell. Yeah, double that up and get extra value out of it. It also doubles up your opponent's spells as well. So it's kind of like a sneaky way for red to kind of have a counter spell, because red doesn't really have too many counter spells. I mean, it's got like a couple of kind of weird iterations on them, but this is, again, basically a way to say, oh, okay, I cast a spell, my opponent decided to counter that. I say, you know what, let's just copy that spell. I'm making a copy of your negate, and I'm going to counter your negate with my negate. So there you go. It's kind of a weird way to just go about it and say, you know what, I can either be very flexible with this card and say, you know, I'm going to double up one of my great spells, or I will counter your spell or just copy your spell. So there you go. Again, you're not limited to just your own spells with something like this. Moving on, Cackling Counterpart. I love this card. 98 cents currently, instant for 3 mana. This one just keeps going above and below $1, and please pick it up while it's below $1 because it's such a great card for many decks out there. Put a token on the battlefield, it's copy a target creature you control, and you can flash it back for 5 blue. Essentially, a clone effect at instant speed, again, that you can utilize again. That is huge. This can, of course, work really well in, well, clone decks, number one. ETB decks, you know, blink decks. I mean, I guess blink decks would, you know, work with ETBs. But blink decks, populate decks, decks that care about getting an additional copy of a creature out and just being able to utilize them in very cool ways. Again, it is creatures that you control. That being said, again, if you've got a lot of ETBs that you can really take advantage of, make sure you're taking advantage of something like this, or even like a Kaiga deck, right? A legendary creature that might have a death trigger that you care about. Kyrie, I believe, is the other one too. But yeah, making sure that you keep track of that as well. Yeah, a very, very good card. Again, one that we barely see in budget these days, so make sure you're picking this up if you're looking for a fantastic clone spell. Again, just 3 mana, and you can utilize it again for 7. Then we've got Wear and Tear. Finally, the final card I'm going to talk about in this episode. A fantastic card, one that was not budget for a long time. Finally got a reprint. Budget again, barely now though, 99 cents. Wear and Tear is a fantastically flexible card. For 1 in a red, you got the Wear side, instant destroy target artifact. For the Tear side, you've got a single white mana, instant destroy target enchantment. By combining these against a fuse card, you can essentially cast both for 3 mana, destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment. It's a very flexible card that you can utilize in whatever situations you need. Again, if you just need to get rid of something like, hey, oh gosh, that enchantment is very scary, 1 mana, take that out. If you got the extra mana, sure, take out an artifact as well. Yeah, that's a very, very good removal spell. One is fantastic in many decks that have Boros essentially, and yeah, just a really good card for 99 cents currently. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you found some cards that can help you for a couple of your decks. And make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Comment below your thoughts on all of these. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.